What's up guys, welcome back. OCG Metagame Breakdown for July 24th, 2018. So again, it has been a couple of weeks ever since the last OCG Metagame Breakdown, and the new OCG ban list went into effect early July, 1st of July. So again, let's take a look like how of an impact these new archetypes like Thunder Dragons, the Soul Fusion archetypes like Gravekeepers for example, the Cyber's structure deck, etc, how big of their impact was during their first weekend. The most recent metagame report was updated today, actually a couple of moments ago. So again, let's take a look. But first of all, as we saw from previous weeks, even though with their new OCG list, and again to refresh our memories, as you're seeing here very quickly, Pendulum Magicians got a huge hit with Astrograph Sorcerer, Harmonizer Magician, and the Electromite being put to 1. Sky Strikers also got a hit with their most OCG, at least most recent OCG list, you know, Hornet Drones being put to 1. Should also got a couple of tools back, same for Spirals as well. The Terratop being put to 2 is also quite good, as you will see in a couple of moments, but yeah, Carved Mice also being put to 3 again for the OCG. So first of all, let's take a look at the first tournament here. Early July was a South Korea, indeed, the South Korea World Championship qualifier with a top 4 consistent of the first and second place being both Sky Strikers. So even though with the new list, Sky Strikers back then was pretty much the most dominant force, followed by third place being the Altergeist and fourth place being Spiral. So still new, or at least very early new format, pre all these new card releases, and Sky Striker already took this one. The second big tournament was like a weekend after this. That was the Malaysia qualifier for the Asia Championship, and the top 8 consistent of, I believe, 6 Sky Strikers, but this was first place. Pendulum Magicians got first place, and you know, even though with 1 Astrograph Sorcerer, having access to Naturia Beast also definitely helped, right? Since it's of course very clutch against Pendulums, against Sky Strikers mainly. So again, yeah, Naturia Beast definitely paying off. Having access to Joker also definitely helped, right? So even though a lot of Sky Strikers in the top cut, even, yeah, again, Pendulum Magicians were able to take this one. As for Sky Strikers, nothing too spectacular. As Road of the King mentioned on his report from last week, is as you're seeing here, this is a report from last week. Sky Strikers was pretty much sitting like half of their complete, half of their breakdown, still very much dominant compared to the other decks, even though they were going into their new format. And like Sky Strikers main decking something like Pot of Desires to get those extra draws. Very dangerous, since again the new ban list, the drones, the token generator being put to 1, you of course want to get your engine going right, get your loops going with your Sky Strike, and then after that use your Pot of Desires. Anyway, so let's take a look at the most recent breakdown. Links will be in the video description like always from Road of the King. Ready for Duel, can launch your store, so again, more information, feel free to check those out. The third report, again, published a couple of moments ago, 53 top performing decks from 9 tournaments from past weekends, so the weekend of July 14th to July 17th. This should be, if I'm not mistaken, I think the first weekend of Soul Fusion being allowed. So again, very early results. Also, I think a couple of tournaments without Soul Fusion being legal. But so again, very early results. So again, just wait from a couple of weeks to see how much of an impact these new archetypes, and mainly Thunder Dragons, are making an impact, as you will see in a couple of moments. This is the most updated, the most recent metagame breakdown again from like last weekend. Sky Strikers, as you're seeing here, still pretty much the more dominant deck, sitting at about a third of their competition, again for a good reason, but again, yeah, they were hit by the ban list, and they're still the most represented deck here in their format. Altergeist is on the rise. Well, it's just like Altergeist was pretty much throughout a couple of weeks formats was always like a top 5 deck, but now, as you're seeing here, Altergeist is definitely on the rise, sitting at about 17%, a super anti-meta deck, as you will see in a couple of moments. And And finally here, Thunder Dragons, the first weekend, but I'm definitely expecting more from the Thunder Dragons throughout the next weeks and months. ABCs, of course, Gokis as well, same for us TCG players, by the way. So again, the first list are the Sky Strikers as the list here. We are seeing at least Ghost Bell is such an important card, and mainly in the Thunder Dragon matchup to negate, like, you know, your opponent's Thunder Dragon monsters and the Sky Striker build. Even though this was like one of the first weekends of the new Thunder Dragons being legal, Sky Strikers are already like changing their build, adapting to Thunder Dragons, to, you know, Thunder Dragon 2.0, their new fusion monster, the Super Bowl Thunder Dragon, locking like pretty much every searcher, locking the Sky Striker deck from searching their entire deck. And that's why, as you're seeing here, Infinite Impermanence is a super important card. Same for Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell is again popular, definitely on the rise as a very important hand trap against those Thunder Dragons, and of course in a mirror match against your opponent's Sky Strikers as well. But again, get your Ghost Bells while you still can, right? As for the rest, fairly standard list. One of Desires, as I mentioned before, a lot of OCG players are main decking Desires, even though it's only one copy, right? Those 2 extra cards are definitely beneficial. Okay, that's pretty much it. And here, oh yeah, that's definitely good. And Word of the King also mentions it here on the end of the page, is the addition of the, I believe it's indeed a new card, the Dino Wrestler Pancratops, I believe its name is. It's a high level monster, but most importantly, it's, and Word of the King also mentions that it's quite of a good side deck card against something like Altergeist, main decking, like as you're seeing here in the Altergeist list, main decking Secret Village, you know, having like a spellcaster, your opponent can't activate spell cards, but if you have those, at least if you have that new Dino card, the Pancratops, you can potentially get rid of their monsters first, but if your opponent is able to get rid of it, you can just use its effect to pop 1 card on your opponent's side of the field, so get rid of the field spell, right, so you can use your own spells again. So this is quite of a nifty tech. Definitely stay tuned for this new tech card, your Pancratops, your Dino Wrestler monster. So as I mentioned before, yeah, indeed, Altergeist Underlie sitting at about 17%, also adjusting their main deck here. Well, again, Thunder Dragons aren't really that strong against Altergeist, but still Altergeist main decking those floodgates, a lot of hand traps still, Imperial Order as well, Multiple Soul Judgment, Anti-Spell Fragrance, of course, being a super staple card against most of the top format decks, Impermanence as well. So again, even though this was like the first weekend, a lot of decks are already adapting to Thunder Dragons, mainly Thunder Dragons, right? The third deck as mentioned here is finally Thunder Dragons. It feels like, and reading throughout the comments of my videos, is there are pretty much like 2 ways to run Thunder Dragons. Either a pure build, I believe as you're seeing here with, well, the battery, the Solar Battery Man being pretty much an Armageddonite for Thunder Dragons, also giving you the extra token to go for the Link monster, the, what is it called, the Summer Vacation or Summer Holiday, you know, that new Link monster giving you reborn cards for Thunder Dragons. So that, again, a super solid card. So that's what, like, one option to run Thunder Kings, pure Thunder Dragons indeed. But the other option is to play them like an engine, mainly Invoked. Not really sure if it's if that's popular. Then again, Invoked is still somewhat hit on their OCG ban list, with I believe Makaba still at 1. So that's maybe one of the reasons. But again, yeah, Reaper here in the main deck, as mentioned before. But Super Bolt Thunder Dragon is just a super strong anti-meta deck. And also, of course, a couple of answers to the Thunder Dragon deck that other people are side-decking against Thunder Dragons is, of course, Super Polymerization and the Forbidden Apocrypha. Again, popular side-deck cards against Thunder Dragons. So, definitely interesting. A lot of very nice things, and then this is some interesting stuff. So again, I'm highly anticipating their next metagame breakdown. You know, seeing the impact of, first of all, Thunder Dragons, and maybe the other decks, Cybers, maybe Gravekeepers, etc. So quickly, the other lists, we see like Cyber Dragons with the new Cyber Dragon Nexter, the new level 1 as well, you know, Reborn, like your Nova or your Infinity from your graveyard. Very important card, but it seems that Cyber Dragon is still very vulnerable to hand traps. It feels a little bit too weak, or it's not that strong compared to the other decks. The inclusion of Power Bond, OCG players seem to prefer Power Bond over the Overload Fusion in the main deck, as you're seeing here. Cyberus, that's a cute deck, but again the structure deck isn't really that strong, and the extra deck is also not that strong compared to like Koki Nightmare shenanigans. So Cybers, it's a cool deck. It can do yeah, indeed can do some cool stuff, but again it falls short. Same for the Orphagal, still only the first wave, highly anticipated deck here, or at least archetype. Orphagal, very strong deck, very dependent on Needle Fiber. I feel, you know, with the tuner upgrading to Summon Sorceress, it can do some gimmicky stuff, but again, maybe after more waves of support, this deck might be a very competitive deck, your Orphagals. This was interesting. It was also posted online on Dueling Days' Facebook page, I believe. Gadgets were at least managed to 5-0 locals. Link gadgets, by the way, kind of a strange list, running like Cockle Doodle Doo, the Ghost Bells as well. So pretty much Link, spam gadgets, I guess. The Cyberstein as well in the main deck. So okay, cool. 5-0 with gadgets. The last one here being Gravekeepers. Well, can I call it a Gravekeeper deck? Only running the, is it Commandant? Discarded to search Necro Valley, and of course the Inspector stun variant, of course with Guard of the Mice as well. So not really a Gravekeeper deck, but again, see how Gravekeepers is doing. Again, the support isn't really that fantastic. It lacks like a lot of power, of course. Okay, again, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.